Hi, very good afternoon to you. It's Gene from Star Observatory. Okay, guys, let's just have a look at what's recently happened. And you know, I read a few of the comments in the comments section yesterday, and I understand a few people's points of view. So in this video, we're going to go through a few of those things. Before we do, as always, big thanks to those that have been supporting the observatory. As you can see from the dates on the TriMag at the beginning, we've been doing this work since, or monitoring the magnetic reversal since 2017. So 6 years worth of data on the website if you want to have a look at it. The whole entire archive is there. It's not the raw data, it's charted, but as you can see, you know, we collect on average around 300,000 data sets every 3 seconds. We're taking a reading and we process that on the 17th, or try to, every month. But we've been doing it for 6 years now, and we've always had a progressive tracking of the magnetic North Pole towards the east, and then suddenly last month it stops. I understand some people saying, oh well, maybe the equipment's faulty, but it's not. There's nothing wrong with the equipment at all. It's working perfectly. So there must be something else at work. And when we look at that article that we was looking at yesterday, or talking about that article yesterday, where they're saying that the interior of the Earth's rotative mechanism, let's say, has come to a stop, and it might reverse, and we get data that shows us just before that announcement of that article saying that the magnetic North Pole has stopped in its migrational path, then there is obviously something linking these two events together. So 6 years worth of data showing the magnetic North Pole tracking towards the east, you know, heading towards central Russia. We know where it's going at this moment because the intensity is so high over Russia. And then a university comes out and says that the Earth's inner core may have stopped turning and could go into a reversal or a reverse, and that's what the study suggests. So we find the Earth's magnetic core reversing at this moment on the basis of this study. We had, before this study came out and was released, evidence that we provided to you that the magnetic North Pole had stopped in its migration. Now the Earth's core is what is generating the magneto, which is in turn generating the magnetosphere and creating dipoles on our planet. And if that stops turning, then obviously something's going to affect the dipoles, and that's what we have saw. You know, I just didn't go 6 years down this road collecting data and then decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to mix something up, like I was accused by suspicious observers. That crankpot in America, that he's got an ego problem, that he's putting down all the scientific people and their evidence around this world, from big organisations and small observatories like ours. This is, like people said in the comment section, you know, a thumb in his eye, because this wasn't just created. There is something going on, and I will emphasise how big that is. If our Earth's core is coming to a halt in its rotation and might go into reverse, hopefully that will be a blessing, trust me, because if the Earth's core doesn't, then we're going to have a problem with our magnetosphere, that very thing that protects us from the harmful cosmic rays out there, and that ain't good. Now, I have been telling people for the last 2 years that we are heading towards a crescendo with the magnetic North Pole. And I suggested that March we will start to see something happen. And fuck me, have I not been correct at this point in time? Look at what other organisations are saying. The Earth's core is starting to slow down and may stop and go into a reverse. What, you think I've got a crystal ball here? I can make this shit up. No, what has happened here is a few like-minded people that have an interest in their Earth that they live on and don't take it for granted have invested some coins into this observatory, and it has just paid off. All those people that were saying, oh, you've been promising that something was going to happen in March. We're in February today, the 1st of February, and look what we are seeing now. The Earth's core slow down and almost come to a halt. We've seen, before this was announced, I give the heads up to you guys, and I said that the magnetic North Pole had stopped. And it has. I may, over the next few days, take out the SD card out the Trimag and just have a look what is going on, because I'm sure you're like me. You're on the edge of your seat now thinking, what the hell's going on? Well, you had more than enough heads up. Over a year I've been pointing to this point in time, specific point in time, and we're here now. And now you're getting the mainstream come out and tell you about it, as well as me. The 40-degree mark has been on there for a long time. Anyone that's been following me knows I slapped that on there a long time ago. And I said that we would see something happen at the round about this time. We're in February now. March is next month. March is when I said we might see some major activity with the magnetic pole migrating much faster. And it's stopped. I'm going to bring up a little experiment so that you can see what happens in this experiment. It might give you an idea as to what to expect in the coming months. Okay? So, this is an experiment I've done with a rotating magnet alongside a compass. And something very unique happens, as you guys know, I've showed you a few times this. When the compass needle gets to 40 degrees after it's migrated already from the North Pole or its current position, it flicks over at that point. And what's happening here is the strong field lines, which keeps the poles on the heading of north as normal, or holds it in its dipole position, is in the strong field lines. If the magnet is rotating, or the core is rotating at that point, what will happen is it will slowly migrate to a certain point. Then we will see something significant happen. It flicks over to, its opposed position. This is like a magnetic reversal taking place. I've been criticised for using this because I've used an external magnet with a compass, but your compass is an external compass and the inner core is an internal magnet. There's no difference in this experiment what it shows. So you can see. Now, I would have to have had a crystal ball if I didn't have the data to support what I've been saying over the last few years at least. Yeah, we've been collecting the data for 6 years. Now we're having universities come out and say that the inner core is slowing down and it may stop. And that came out after I made my announcement that the magnetic North Pole had already stopped in its migration. I predicted a month of March that something would happen. So what? I'm a little bit ahead of the scale. What, you're gonna say that I didn't know what I was doing because I'm a little bit ahead of time? something is definitely going on. And they have to come out and tell people about it at this point, because something ugly, maybe, and I hope that's not the case, but something ugly is going to take place shortly over these next few months. Watch me on this. I've been right up until this point. I just really would love to know what Suspicious Observers thinks right at this point. After he made that announcement that I've been a fraud and it's all bullshit, and you know, because I've been bang on the scale right to this point. I've been accurate, giving people heads up about what's happening as it's been happening. The reason I've been able to do that is because I used the scientific method. I collected data, and based on that data, you know, we could make future predictions. That's why you do these things. I don't just talk about the stuff. You know, we've got a dedicated observatory which collects data. Just look at the TriMag data on the polshiftnews.com website. Have a look at the bottom of the chart at how many readings we take every month. You can't make a chart up like that unless you're a dedicated idiot and you're going to spend a whole entire month. Well, it would take longer than that. Think about it. We collect data every 3 seconds. How long would it take you to do, you know, 300,000 data sets? Who in the right mind would have that sort of enthusiasm to sit there writing that out for the 3 months and then suggest that that is 1 month's worth of readings? You know, I sometimes have a real problem with some members of, you know, people in the comments section because they've just got no clue what they're talking about. You can't make up this stuff. Let's wait and see, okay? I told you 40-degree mark was a pinnacle point. I told you March was a pinnacle point. I told you last month that the magnetic North Pole stopped. I brought to your attention that now universities around the world are also suggesting that the Earth's core is stopping. Let's see what happens next. And I may break out the SD card tomorrow. I might do that. You know, I think it's worth doing, even though it's halfway through the month. You know, we can do that. Not a problem. And if you want to help support what we're doing here, you know, there's a link down there in the comments section. It's entirely up to you. It's not mandatory. You know, we're not begging here. We've got, obviously, equipment monitoring this stuff. Otherwise, we couldn't come to the conclusions at this point in time and been right all the way along. So, if you want to support what we do, and I haven't encouraged you enough in this video to do that, then I don't know what to say. I really don't. Because I've proved my worth. And the egg is in Ben Davison's face, slapped good and proper back in his face. I'm surprised he'll have any subscribers after this week. And if they are, I don't know why they're subscribed to him. I really don't. Because he's just proved himself the biggest fool on YouTube. Guys, there's a link down there if you want to help support us. Get behind the observatory, because we deliver facts. You know what? I'll say what I usually do. You know, you take care of your loved ones. And hunker down. We're about to start seeing things happen. As always, bye for now.